This is Siren Buddha Medicine, REGFNHOWARD Raw, and Speaking with Wisdom. And today, we're going to be talking about what's love got to do with it. Sometimes, we can go into conversations with flowers and rainbows and hearts when the other person has an arsenal, with the way they look at life. And when that happens, do we have enough insight, patience, love, and savvy to still utilize the conversation? I mean, what do you do when you live with these people? What do you do when you're talking with somebody and they just don't care about what you think at all? Behind closed doors, is it then that our enlightenment and our love goes out the window? Or do we still stand and represent us as a body of people who would like betterment and the way that we interact and understand one another? If you're standing in the gate for your children, for a cousin, for a friend, for somebody that you don't even know, you're standing at the gate and your life is a testimony. And so I'm using mine for you. And I want to say much love to you. Bring your higher self into the conversation. And let's just see, what does love got to do with it? Much love to you.
Carry the same characteristics. We get mad, happy, mad, sad, and such. So when we want to use the word love, love seems to be a very perfect word, you know what I'm saying? But we are very imperfect people. So we have to gain the understanding. When we use that, we have to understand what that word is. And that's not what it is when you have injustice and racism and greed and all these other...
Well, that's not a part of the love system that we were really focusing on. I think that when it comes to trying to define love, to redefine it for words that make sense, because they get in the way, it's more like nurturing or balance or substance or... it's something that you go to for sustainability,
So, when you talk
it's maya, it's balanced. It's just like when the storm comes, like nature.
I understand.
Okay? It's tearing down one thing, but making room for another.
When you use the word Maya, I hear it so often.
But law and balance is what I'm saying. Nature comes in like law and balance, whereas a storm will tear down houses and trees and may take life, but it's also making room for life and clearing away old things that needed to be reconciled.
Nature has an understanding.
Back to the earth.
Nature has an understanding of why it do what it do.
Nurture. Nature, nurture.
But nature has an understanding. Guess what? Humans don't.
Well, that's what we're trying to get, isn't it?
No, first of all, we as people, melanated people on the earth, or people here of descendants of slaves, can't seem to get it. Because first you have to understand and know who you are. We all here, my eye, this, that, and the third, and it doesn't seem to hold any water.
Why not? In the days of old, right? Even the first Buddha was said to have learned his characteristics of spirituality and the martial arts through looking at the interpretations of nature and the different animals in it.
But when we look at when we go into those particular areas,
what I'm saying is it has relevance, though.
I think everything has relevance, but Buddha doesn't say when we were in captivity, we were still in captivity, mental captivity. But when we was in physical bondage, there was no Buddha. Buddha has to be studied and understand what it is. The ancients take Buddha when it comes from the original people, and so when it comes from the original people, religion had got devied out through man. Man has took religion and made his own. So that's when it becomes religion. When man take it on and make Buddha, Hinduism, Muslim, and many other religions that come up to make the man comfortable. However, when you say the law of nature or the law of man is not to lie, steal, cheat, and assert, that is law. Because when you do that there, it defines the gravity. And it defines the gravity in you.
Then you go back to the original lawgiver, and that's still Ma'at.
Well, you might say Ma'at,
but what I'm saying is that even you, right, are using these are using these reflections of deities, whether you agree wholeheartedly with them or not, there's remnants in them that can give us lessons, right? And how we should conduct ourselves, or things that we might want to look at. Like looking at nature, being nurture, and looking at the animals and the way they interact with each other,
Right.
Whether it's a pack or whether they,
My
nocturnal, or,
yeah.
I'm saying, how do they behave and why? And looking at the aspects of different deities, right? Our ancient deities, how do they behave and why? And in doing that, we reflect ourselves and we find out how to love or nurture.
But the deities you're talking about are mythological people who depended on, when you look at the sun for strength. They named the sun. They named anything, like Hinduism. Hinduism named every different. The wind is good, they give it a name. The cow is good, they give that. They eat cow dung. We have to understand, when you talk about deities, that come up to the European settings.
But regardless, we're looking at the aspects, or we're looking at the traits of these different things we're speaking of, instead of getting wrapped up in them or where they came from in an entirety. We're just looking at different aspects of them and how they pertains to us.
But,
so you take what you need,
so
and you leave the rest.
Well, who is us? Us
individuals.
Individuals?
Yes.
Oh, you talking about all people together?
And no, you as an individual, take what you need from the different aspect of different cultures or deities, or, or religion. You take what you need, and you leave the rest where it is.
So when you look at individual, and you look at the United States, where there's 45 million black people, from African American, so-called African Americans.
Pertaining to love?
No, we're talking about, looking at deities and looking about goddess, and you look at Afro Americans here in America, right? And you look at each different state that we're in, right? In the inner city communities, where we are suffering, first of all, from self-identity. We don't know who we are. We try to name, we go back into Africa, and then we start from the deities, where the deities have came from the Greek gods. The deities first originated from the African uncivilized civilization, because the Africans wasn't civilized people. You understand what I'm saying? The knowledge that they have obtained came from the Hebrew Israelites, who taught them many different arts and different crafts. When you worship many different gods, you're confused. This is why the Greeks took on the African gods and the deities, and then the Romans took it on, and now the Europeans took it on, and so we are still trying to figure out where is the deity. So we got Maya, which strengthens for the woman, because it's a woman goddess. So it strengthens the woman. Why? Because she's in despair. And only the black woman, or more than anybody else, call on my art. But you won't see any other cultures call on my art. You know what I'm saying? For the healing and the condition that I see now, where women say, "Wow, we're empowered." We're in a worse condition now than ever. The men have been.
Other cultures would call that something else. These deities, right? They morph and they change names throughout different cultures over time. That's a whole different story. But I just think that what we're looking for, right, is the aspects. We're looking for the good parts, or we're looking for parts that we can identify of ourselves from out of these different things, regardless of what we're looking at.
Look at the mental health condition of our people. We're so thirsty to find out our identity. We won't even take the time to just sit down and figure this shit out. We are all talking about the sun, Maya, and all this right here, which doesn't give us any kind of profit to see the future. And so we deal on lies. When I look at my art, I look at something sexual. Because in the woman, she seems to be very sexual. I look at the men, who seem to be very effeminized, because if they're following of these things, there's no alpha male to take charge in the war and the battles that we need to fight. You know what I'm saying? From those who persecute us. We're under grave persecution. It's right there. We see we own nothing, and we depend on other things. All our knowledge is coming from that. It's been trickled down. But when you see the outcome of it, it's like we don't own stores, we don't own nothing. Even medical, we can't even go through our medical, and we have to go through that, which continue to oppress us. We don't want to deal with that.
I see the defensiveness, toward, things that are other than what you're used to. And a lot of people are like that. I'm not blaming anybody. It is difficult to get used to other things, but just from your statement alone, how you said that my is sexual to you, tells me that, you know, from deeper reflection of this, the topic of her alone, you would learn a lot. That's not what it is, okay? When you look at universal law, not enough to say that she's a sexual entity. That's just my opinion from what you said. That's what I'm saying is that being able to look at these different cultural icons and how they morphed throughout the different cultures, and finding the reasons why we like them, the reasons why we don't like them, is still a reflection of ourselves, and that in that we can find the common denominator. What we're looking for is how to relate to one another, how to nurture each other, how to give that balance. That is a form of love. You know, and we can get caught up in the word, right? We can get caught up in the word, but I think for me, it is nature. It's how we are nurtured by the Creator. It's how we're nurtured by the balance of all this and how we can get it back. And it depends on what we focus on.
My thing is, how can you have love when you never taught love? I want to know who taught us love.
Well, because it depends on what's in your heart. If your intent is to have nurture and care and enlightenment and understanding and to give it back, to me, that's a form of love and caring.
But your heart is your mind. Your mind lets everything else function. So when you get a feeling or an emotion, it comes from your mind. So your mind proceeds from a higher point.
When you learn different systems, you learn how to change that. You don't have to think with your mind. Like, for instance, think about Hawaiian design. Some of us are built different ways. It's just your design. And, you know, some of us think from the heart. Other ones think from different areas of their being. Just like with astrology, and some of us are born Aquarius and some Scorpio and Leo. Others are born from a different pivotal point. So you're looking at life from that space in which, you know, you were born into, your reflection from your cultural perspective or your intellectual perspective.
That is
like a star in the sky, right, that can be that can be what do you call it? You can pinpoint where it is. Like when you use Google Maps and you can find someone's home. It's the same kind of system.
When you talk about astrology and everything, that's trickery. To me, it's witchcraft, it's trickery. It's witchcraft and trickery because when a baby is a baby, you know what I'm saying? It is a baby, and it's nurturing through what is taught. Astrology has nothing to do with it at that particular time. Witchcraft creates, you know what I'm saying, these monsters that are running around with false illusions. So if a baby is taught from the ages of 1 and 5 years old, it's taught to not tell lies, to not steal, to not greed, to control their sexual energies, you know what I'm saying? It moves forward, you know. But because it goes on astrology is never proven to be worthy. Not at all. Astrology is a trick from musicians and sorcery. You know, it holds no water or no weight. We can look up and we can see how the world turns to get what we need for a fact as the day turn or the month change just by the moon. You know, you don't have to be an astrologer to know those things. But because one wants to trick you and control you, it goes by that. And so when we're looking at these different deities where you say Ma, well, what was Maya through slavery? You know what I'm saying? There's no evidence to support Ma'at, but from an African culture or for that who wants to be emotionally comfort to get past a lot of these things. It's all an illusion. The laws is not the laws of university. The laws of university has their own laws, which we don't understand.
Well, I think it's...
And the laws of man is to be morally and principled and have principles and be righteous. And I say, if you bring 5 laws, because if I say, what can my eye do for a community? I would ask you, what can my eye do for a community? You would give me X, Y, Z. If you ask me what the laws, you know what I'm saying, of man is, and I continue to say this right here, if we went to an area and say, I won't lie no more, I won't cheat on my girl no more, because I will respect the next man. You understand what I'm saying? I will, I would love myself. I would love my neighbor as I love myself. It would cure black on black crime. It would cure self-hate. Why? Because when I walk out, I won't cheat on my brother or my sister. I won't have to lie. You understand what I'm saying? I will love my brother first as I love myself, and we can build communities. But when you say my aunt, you tell me what my aunt can do for a community we should bring into the mind, what my aunt would bring.
Babe, these laws came from my aunt. Yes, they did. These laws were stolen from the original deity. That's why I'm saying if you did further study, yeah, you would know what it is that I'm trying to say. The other thing too is that
I studied me out before you did.
No, Ken, what you just said, hon, it doesn't add up. It doesn't equate because this system is built on our ancient system from Kemet, okay? That was the first deity when you look at the tree. That is Amen. It is the triple goddess, okay? It's the triple black goddess. It is the Washington, D.C. is built on it. The pyramids, they're duplicating all our symbology and our systems that are lined up with the astrology, okay, that bring balance to this matrix.
But you're right. But guess what it does? It caused destruction because you're right. From Egypt first fell, and so now the bondage of this is so because what America practices.
But wait a minute. No, I listened. Okay. Now you say witchcraft, and here we go with the words get in the way. When you say witchcraft, because you know about certain sciences, why is it okay? Now, what day is it today? You know, it's Friday, right? That's still built on the calendar system. It's Friday, December 9th, 2016. That's attached to the almanac and attached to our calendar system.
Is that true?
Is it true?
Yeah.
Not if you look at our ancient systems, it's not.
August comes from one of the kings who made that particular holidays. The days are totally thrown off. Those right there were made
That's what I'm saying.
Right. So what
I'm saying is that through the heart, we can make the connections instead of using all the differences. What are we looking for in this stuff? Even if we're wrong, if somebody's wrong about a particular information or they said a name wrong or they're not classifying something exactly, what are we looking for when we say that we want comfort or love or we want to be able to get along with each other?
So in the conversation, right, do you renew your mind or do you renew your heart?
You have to renew your heart first. That's what the contrary to believe. Your mind can learn different stuff all day, but if your intent isn't right, you're still in up craps creek.
So you're saying that it's heart first, mind, and then spirit. Is that what you're saying? So when you gotta go into a meditation, is your heart being meditated?
It's spirit.
Okay, and then after
and
spirit,
then it's what you think about, and then it manifests physically.
Okay, so we know that it's a spirit of power greater in ourselves that we look to restore our minds, right? Once my mind is restored, it changes my heart. My heart becomes my mind.
No.
Because when my heart, I have to think before I feel. Because if I don't have.
Well, I'm not saying maybe your system is supposed to work like that, Mr. Scorpio, born on the date that you are from that perspective. But this one, see, that's where we get it wrong. Everybody's entitled to their own pivotal point in this matrix. You know, I got to learn to deal with your perspective, and you have to learn to adjust and deal with mine.
I'm not negating your concept. What I'm saying to you is, if you're talking about, you love to talk about science and astrology. The facts of the matter, the facts that we deal with, there are three things. The three things is physical, mental, and spiritual. Our physical presence being our physical body, no matter what we see. Then we talk about our mind, you understand, which is the brain. Because if the brain go, everything else go, and the heart can still be pumping. But once that brain go, the heart don't have no emotions. If the brain is gone, the mental is gone, then the heart just pumps. You understand what I'm saying? So without the heart, then you die. But you can take a heart and make a peacemaker and keep that heart pumping, and still we can have emotions because the peacemaker comes from the heart. So then we know we rule out that because the heart can be fixed. But if I take your brain, the brain cannot be fixed. Well, we get all our energy from. This is why with the black people, with us as black people on the earth, you're right. We deal with our hearts and our emotions. We cannot renew the mind because of all the confusion and the illusion, especially coming from astrology. That's my point of view.
Now I'm gonna say my point of view, and then we'll end this respectfully. All right. Now you can have 1,000 doors. You can have 1,000 doors. And those are your choices. So you can think with your mind all you want to about those 1,000 doors. But what people are not realizing is it's the heart that's going to lead you through the correct door. So you can think until your heart's content. But you will never make it through the right door until you learn. Until you learn to think with your heart. So that's Siren Buddha medicine. REGFNHOWARD. Much love to you from my pivotal point where I stand at the resistance of my heart with much love to you. See, that's the funny part about life is we all have our different ways of looking at things, and you're standing right next to or working next to or sitting next to someone who has no idea how you believe. They have no idea how to reach that space where you are. And they're in this world too, from their own pivotal point and perspective, and their heart space, and their mind. And they're bringing with them all their spirits and all their journey and all their experience into the conversation. How tolerant are we to be able to get along with one another, to come to the conclusion so that we can fix this? So, this is Siren Buddha Medicine. Much love to you. Let's keep this talking. Let's make this better.